that this is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
So I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know.
Everyone is talking about it right now, the shocking arrest of Shah Diddy Combs and the unbelievable fallout that's dragging some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry along with him. But there's one name in particular that's left everyone in disbelief: Steve Harvey. Yes, the same Steve Harvey that we all know from family-friendly TV shows like Family Feud, and his long-standing career as a comedian and talk show host. The same Steve, who has built an image as a clean, respectable, almost fatherly figure in the entertainment world, but behind that polished persona, it seems there may be a much darker side.
There is a criminal investigation underway, and that they believe that there would be evidence of crimes in one or both of these homes.
The bombshell news dropped like a ton of bricks when Diddy was arrested in Manhattan. Federal agents took him in on charges that sound like they're straight out of a crime thriller: racketeering, conspiracy, exploitation, and more.
Schneider and Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise.
This was huge. Diddy's business empire has spanned music, fashion, television, and nightlife for decades, but the arrest has blown a hole in the image of the music mogul everyone thought they knew. As more details surfaced, whispers started to swirl. A lot of people began to wonder how many others could be involved in this mess. And then boom, the rumor hit the internet like wildfire: Steve Harvey, the beloved host and comedian, had fled the country the exact same day Diddy was taken into custody. Coincidence? Not likely.
Clients describe NBC as hell, as the worst conditions they.
The fact that Steve Harvey left the S as soon as Diddy was put behind bars has sparked an avalanche of speculation. Could it be that Steve knew the walls were closing in on him too? As the days go by, more and more people seem to think so. It's no secret that Steve has attended many of Diddy's infamous parties over the years, those extravagant stared events that seem to be the ultimate sign of success in the entertainment world. But as we've now come to learn, those parties weren't just about the glitz and glamour. There were much darker things happening behind the scenes, and Steve's connection to them is raising some serious eyebrows.
Housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown unit, which means that any movement within that unit is controlled and coordinated, and no inmate moves outside of his cell without being in full restraints, to include leg irons, handcuffs, a belly chain, and at least 2, if not 3 staff members escorting.
Let's rewind a bit and talk about these legendary parties Diddy used to throw to the outside world. They seemed like the place to be celebrities for music, movies, sports, and politics rubbing shoulders, all while Diddy cemented his reputation as the ultimate host. But as time went on, more and more rumors surfaced about what really went down at those parties, rumors that hinted at some very questionable activities. The recent allegations and arrests suggest that these weren't just harmless social gatherings. If you listen to the people now coming forward, Diddy's parties were much more than that. They were allegedly a breeding ground for all sorts of illegal activities. And it's not just Diddy who's under the microscope. Every high-profile guest who attended, including Steve Harvey, is now being looked at with suspicion.
Evidence that's been gathered in this case was from those 2 raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named Freak Off.
It's been said that Steve wasn't just a casual guest at these parties either. Rumor has it that he was a regular fixture at some of the wildest nights in Diddy and Circle. This is where things get really interesting. Sources close to the investigation are hinting that the FBI has witnesses who claim to have seen Steve taking part in some pretty and savory stuff. These aren't just people throwing out baseless accusations. These are individuals who allegedly attended the same parties and witnessed Steve getting involved in things that are not just embarrassing, but potentially illegal.
He was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than...
Now this is where the story really starts to peel back the layers of Steve's public image. For years, he's presented himself as the ultimate family man, a devoted husband and father, someone who could give advice to millions on how to live a respectable life. His best-selling book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, cemented his place as a voice of reason in the often chaotic world of relationships. But what if it was all a front? What if it was all a front? What if behind the scenes Steve Harvey was living a double life, frequenting events that were anything but wholesome?
All right, I got to take some time to address this.
Of course, Steve has built an empire on his charm, wit, and larger-than-life personality. He's been the face of countless TV shows, from talk shows to game shows, and he's universally adored for his no-nonsense approach to life. But this new information could change everything. The idea that Steve could have been involved in, or at least witnessed, the deeply troubling activities allegedly happening at Diddy's parties is almost too much for people to wrap their heads around. Could the man who's been doing out life advice for decades be hiding something this dark?
Alleged evidence that's been gathered in this case was from those two raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles, and the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named Freak Off.
The fact that Steve left the country just as Diddy was being arrested has people buzzing. Why would he flee if he had nothing to hide? It's one thing to go on a spontaneous vacation, but to leave the U.S. the moment a close associate is taken down in a massive scandal, that's not something most people would do unless they had a very good reason to. And for Steve, that reason might be fear. That reason might be fear that the authorities are closing in on him next.
So what is next? Is he going to be in jail in this facility until the trial begins? Is there a chance he could, get moved earlier than that?
As of this moment, as of this hour, as of today, yes. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be appealing this thing next to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn the judge's order here to try and get him actually released.
What's even more chilling is that it's not just Steve's attendance at these parties that's under scrutiny. There are whispers allegedly from credible sources close to the investigation that Steve wasn't just a passive bystander. According to these sources, the FBI has been gathering evidence for years, and they've interviewed multiple witnesses who claim Steve actively participated in some of the most shocking and illegal activities that went down at these events. We're talking about things that, if proven, could completely ruin his career and lead to serious legal consequences.
Doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself.
Now Steve has remained tight-lipped about all of this. He's not issued any public statement, and his representative have been suspiciously quiet, but behind the scenes you can bet his legal team is working overtime to figure investigating Diddy's network for years. Means that they're not just looking at him, they're looking at everyone who's ever been closely associated with him, and Steve, with his long-standing friendship and numerous public appearances alongside Diddy, is definitely in the spotlight. If these rumors are true, Steve could be facing much more than just a PR crisis. He could be facing criminal charges that would destroy everything he's built over the past few decades.
Controlled every aspect of her life. He is accused of frequently beating her and would hide her in hotel rooms for days until the bruising and signs of abuse were gone.
As the investigation continues, one thing is clear: the truth about Steve Harvey's involvement in this scandal is bound to come out eventually. Whether or not he's guilty of any wrongdoing, the fact that his name is being thrown around in connection with such serious allegations is a blow to his reputation. The longer he stays silent, the more people will begin to wonder what he's really hiding.
And in this lawsuit, he claims that essentially P. Diddy was the Epstein of the rap.
So with Steve Harvey's name swirling in the rumors and suspicions, it's clear this isn't just a one-off scandal involving Diddy alone. In fact, it's a much bigger web of high-profile names who are now scrambling to distance themselves from what's turning into one of the most shocking falls from grace in celebrity history. The moment Diddy's arrest hit the headlines, it was like a signal went off, and suddenly everyone in his inner circle started making moves. People are feeling left and right, desperate to avoid being caught up in what seems like an inevitable storm of legal trouble. Steve Harvey may be one of the most talked about names, but he's definitely not alone. In fact, rumors suggest that several other celebrities who are regulars at Diddy's notorious parties have also gone into hiding.
Like, I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like, but like, I felt like I was in the presence of his monster.
We're talking about some of the most famous faces in Hollywood music and even sports. These aren't just Diddy's business partners or distant acquaintances. There are people who were allegedly deep in the mix, enjoying the wild lifestyle Diddy was known for. And now, as investigators dig deeper into the allegations against Diddy, these same celebrities are doing everything they can to avoid becoming the next headline. The FBI is reportedly combing through mountains of evidence, everything from phone records to witness statements, and according to insiders, it's not looking good for the people in Diddy's circle. Some names that have surfaced include individuals who are thought to be squeaky clean, much like Steve Harvey. But the truth is, just like Steve, these celebrities were frequent guests at Diddy's exclusive events, and the allegations suggest they weren't just there for the champagne and small talk. Some sources claimed that they were very much involved in the shade dealings that went on behind closed doors.
Stand-up comedian, entertainer, television host, family man. But most importantly, I happen to be a man of...
Now, you might be wondering who else could possibly be implicated in all of this. Well, one name that keeps coming up is Cuba Gooding Jr. It's no secret that he's had his share of controversies over the years, but his connection to Diddy is now being looked at with a lot more scrutiny. Cuba was allegedly introduced to one of Diddy's insiders, Rodney Lil Rod Jones, at one of these innocent gatherings, according to the lawsuit filed by Jones. Cuba was far from an innocent bystander. Jones claims that Cuba was not only present at these events, but also participated in inappropriate activities, a claim that could put him in serious legal jeopardy.
You know, I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being...
And it doesn't stop there. Another name that's been thrown into the mix is Prince Harry. Now, before you get to shots, let's be clear, there's no suggestion that Prince Harry was directly involved in any wrongdoing. However, his name has come up as someone who had been at some of Diddy's events. Remember, Diddy's reach extended far beyond the entertainment industry. He mingled with royalty, politicians, and global elites. Prince Harry's brief connection to Diddy comes from a charity event they both attended years ago, but the fact that his name is even being mentioned in this context has people raising eyebrows. It just goes to show how far-reaching the scandal could potentially become. And then there's Young Miami, the rapper, and one of Diddy's former flames. She's been pretty vocal about her relationship with Diddy in the past, but now her name is coming up in an entirely different light. According to rumors, Young Miami may have been involved in transporting certain items across state lines for Diddy. Items that are now the subject of intense investigation. Whether or not these rumors hold any weight remains to be seen, but it's clear that anyone who had a close connection to Diddy is now being scrutinized, and with each passing day, more and more names are being thrown into the fire.
Oh, if he really was filming everybody, I mean, he had a lot of people at those parties, right?
The real tragedy here is that many of the people involved probably thought they were untouchable. For years, Diddy has been seen as one of the most successful and influential figures in music and business, someone who could open doors and make dreams come true. But now it looks like his empire is crumbling, and anyone associated with him is being dragged down along with him. The fallout has been fast and brutal, and it's only getting worse as the days go by. Take Diddy's current situation, for example. He's been denied bail, meaning he's stuck behind bars until his trial. The media is buzzing with reports about the conditions he's facing. Apparently, it's a far cry from the lavish lifestyle he's used to. There's talk that he's being held in a facility known for its strict rules and minimal comforts, which must be a shock to someone who's been living in luxury for decades. And the charges against him, they're serious, so serious that he's looking at the possibility of life in prison if he's convicted. This isn't just a slap on the wrist or a fine. This is the kind of legal trouble that could end his career for good.
And is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being. They have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
What's even more incredible is how fast Diddy's empire is unraveling. His partnerships with major companies are dissolving left and right. Just a few months ago, Diddy was the face of major brands like Revolt and Kirk, and now those relationships are in tatters. Even Hulu, which was reportedly working on a reality show with the Combs family, has pulled the plug. It seems like no one wants to be associated with Diddy anymore, and honestly, who can blame them? The allegations are not only shocking, they're career ending, and then there's the impact this is having on Diddy's family. His sons, who were once seen as rising stars in their own right, are now caught up in the scandal. In fact, Christian King Combs, Diddy's son, is facing his own legal issues related to accusations that have surfaced in the wake of his father's arrest. There are reports that Christian was also involved in some questionable behavior at these infamous parties, and now he's got his own legal battles to worry about. It's like the entire Combs family is being sucked into this vortex of scandal, and it doesn't look like there's any way out. The speed with which Diddy's empire has collapsed has been breathtaking. It wasn't that long ago that he was riding high, celebrating his return to music with a love album, Off the Grid. But now that comeback has been overshadowed by the sheer weight the allegations against him. It's hard to imagine a path forward for someone who's facing charges as serious as these, and as more details emerge, the scandal seems to get darker and darker.
Not only should he have apologized to Cassie in that video, he should have apologized to all of the general public that he lied.
But here's the thing, Diddy's fall from grace isn't just about one man's downfall, it's about the entire system that allowed this behavior to go unchecked for so long. For years, Diddy was able to cultivate this image of success, power, and influence. He surrounded himself with celebrities, politicians, and business leaders.
Problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there's enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see. These are
willing to turn a blind eye to what was really going on behind the scenes, and now, as the truth begins to come to light, it's clear that Diddy wasn't operating in a vacuum. There were plenty of people who knew what was happening, and some of them were complicit and keeping it all under wraps. So where does this leave Steve Harvey and the others who are now caught in the crossfire? Well, if the rumors are true, Steve isn't the only one trying to lay low while this investigation unfolds, it's been said that several other celebrities have quietly left the U.S. in recent weeks, all trying to avoid getting dragged into this mess. And while Steve's decision to leave the country has sparked the most attention, there are whispers that others have followed suit. It's almost like watching a game of musical chairs, everyone scrambling to find a safe place before the music stops, but sooner or later someone's going to be left standing when the authorities come knocking.
When I hung the phone up, I went upstairs, I said, Marjorie, I said, Marjorie, we got a problem. When I explained it to her, Marjorie started crying.
What's particularly fascinating about all of this is how quickly the public's perception has shifted. For years, people idolized Diddy and the stars in his orbit. They were seen as untouchable, larger-than-life figures who could do no wrong. But now, with all of these allegations coming to the surface, people are starting to question everything. How much did we really know about these celebrities? How much of their public image was carefully crafted to hide what was really going on behind the scenes? The truth is, the line between public persona and private life has always been blurred in Hollywood, but this scandal is making people realize just how deep that deception can go.
If you got to run to a private island because your evil doings are doing so much and they storming your house, it's one of these.
As we wait for more details to emerge, one thing is clear: this is just the beginning. The investigation into Diddy's activities is far from over, and there's no telling how many more names will be pulled into the scandal. But for now, the spotlight remains squarely on Steve Harvey and the other celebrities who are trying to distance themselves from this sinking ship. Will they manage to escape, or will they manage to escape unscathed, or will they be the next to face serious legal consequences? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more updates, and we'll catch you in the next video.